Okay. It is 7 o'clock, and I will call the order to the Tuesday, May 9th. Village of Port Edward Board meeting to order. Do a roll call.
Here. So, trustee Brendan. Here. Trustee McGregor.
Here.
Trustee Moore.
Here.
Trustee Radke.
Here.
Trustee Saylor.
Excuse baseball game.
And trustee Zerflin.
Here.
Okay, so we will stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance in honor of May being Military Youth Month. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. I will ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Brendan, second by Radke. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
All right.
Oops. Okay, that one passes. Any public comment on agenda items? Then we'll be back to. Nope. Is there anybody online? Okay, number 6, President's Report. I will, so we had the reorganizational meeting minutes to go over. That was pretty. Let me find it here. Pretty, straightforward. We had the oaths of office for the elected officials. Nick did talk about, Nick, our attorney, talked about, open meetings laws, open records, and all that. And I think that was included. Did he send slides for that? I can't remember if he sent us slides, or was that in the strategic?
Yeah, he sent stuff on Saturday.
Okay, that was on okay. So then the special meeting on the Port Edwards Firefighters Athletic Association was right afterwards. We talked about separating the athletic association that they have, that's more of their fundraising accounts from the actual fire department, making sure that the bylaws are separated, so it's not kind of all intermingled in one entity. And the attorney app was here to kind of clarify things legally on that. Any questions on the meeting minutes at all?
We need a motion to approve those. Because
Yeah, you do. You got one more. You can do all three at one
Okay.
time. They're all.
Okay,
I'd make that motion to approve all 3 meeting minutes.
we're gonna make the motion.
I'll second.
McGregor, a second, any discussion on it? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And then the annual strategic meeting minutes, that was that Saturday meeting. We went over a lot. Bob's printed up those big packets. Lon, yours is in front of you. So that big one, if you guys don't have it, yeah,
Yeah, and I have a copy at home. I
Oh,
read
okay.
through it. Thank you.
okay. But I would just keep that handy, because that kind of comes in pretty nice throughout the year to try to reference back on different things.
Just to clarify, I'm not sure if I caught this or not. With the DMI Riverwalk and bike trails, there's gonna be no movement on that until there's a new owner.
No, we're waiting on Jewel Engineering. They're the ones that's gonna do it.
But we can't do it until the demolition's done, right?
No, because we can work on the south side. That's not related to the demo. So from the dam south along the river, that's not part of the demos there, the zone. So Jewel is can start that side. That's, well, I'm just waiting on the engineering timeline from Jewel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Have anything? No. Okay. Number 7, committee reports, the airport commission, Mr. Zerflu.
Basically, we're looking at April's minutes, nothing to report on there. We are going to have a special meeting coming up. 3 firms have, expressed interest in to form a new plan for the airport, which will keep us in standards of the Bureau of Aeronautics, with the state. And that's something that, it'll be in closed session at first, but that's where we will be starting. And, it's basically to make sure that we stay in code and everything like that. So I'll have more on that hopefully, in June. Otherwise, not a lot of anything else, as far as these minutes go. Fuel sales are starting to take a, quick jump up because Sand Valley jets are starting to show up again. They're asking you if you wanna go out to Oregon and play golf and then they'll bring you back.
Might have to take them up on that.
That's it, Madam President.
Thank you. Chairman Stewart, Police and Fire Commission.
Thank you, Madam President. We met last, May 1st, and we reviewed 3 applications for fire department, candidates. Of those 3, we, rejected 2 and 1, will continue on in the process. I believe that, interview, the next process in that is Friday, isn't that, Chief? Thursday. So, moving right along with a, potential, new fire candidate. Beyond that, as you may have heard, we're keeping a close eye on, Senator Scott's proposal on, putting a police officer in every school across the nation, K through 12, with the money reallocated from 8,000 IRS agents or something. So that's kind of an exciting potential that, maybe we could take advantage of here, for another, police officer position. It's grant, based, and it's, up to 2. And it actually even includes, private schools, not only public schools, but private schools, this proposed bill. Other than that, depending on how the interview goes Thursday, we may have a, meeting prior to our next first Monday in June meeting, to see if we can't, move along a, established eligibility to hire list for the fire department. And, if they choose to, act on that, and I know it's funded because they're down, in positions. So that may happen fairly soon. That's about it. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for him?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Public Works Committee.
Okay, Public Works met on April 26th, 2023. The street department, Supervisor Martinson just said that, we're up and going, parks are getting clean. We have, 1 summer help that was proposed to start, I believe, this week. We have the alley projects that are going to be, a lot of the labor village is gonna be tearing them up out and putting gravel down, and of course, they'll be blacktopped, probably by the county. Some chip sealing will also be done. All the projects seem to be on the right timeline. The only other thing that we have is, we propose a motion to approve the county village joint efforts on Market Avenue project for $140,000. It's the lowest bid. And this is money from the TIF program to repair the sidewalks and the parking area out front here, for our municipal building in the Market Street. So with that, I propose the motion.
Okay. Ricky with the motion, do we have a second?
So move.
Sure, for the second. Any discussion on that?
What makes that a joint project with the county?
Well, I believe because, for one, the county will be doing the blacktop. So that's where the joint project is. They'll be doing the blacktop.
So we're contracting them, it's not a shared, right?
When we bid with the county, you can't bid with the county. When we do a joint project with the county, Martinson becomes the project manager. County will do blacktop. We have a subcontractor the county uses to do it concrete. Our guys are gonna do the stormwater, so it's a multifaceted effort. But when you added all that, it still came to be the lowest bid compared to the other bid names.
Yeah, I think we saved quite a bit by going with Ben being the overseer of the whole project. I think the next bid was
It
200,
was 100K more, yeah.
200
Oh,
doubled, so almost. Any other questions?
Get a motion and a second, all in favor,
I,
Aye.
Alright,
any opposed? That motion carries.
With that, I don't have anything else with the public works, other than our next meeting will be May 17th at 4 PM, here at the Marshall Bueller Center.
Thank you. Parks and Rec Committee. Mr. Gertler.
you've had a chance to look over the minutes, I'm sure. The only comments I really have to make are community calendar update section there with item number A. We had a pretty good presentation at the meeting put on by the people that are interested in doing a mural back here on the wall of the Solaris building. They were told what they had to do, and they are to report to the village administrator when they are ready to move forward. Port Road Bike Walking Trail Extension, administrator updated the efforts. DOT has, or some concerns for the DOT, it says here, in signaling. Explain that, the administrator explained that we're gonna be responsible for some of the cost for pedestrian lighting. And also village administrator will keep us up to date, at our next meeting as to how she's going. Unless he has some, comments at this time.
More to follow on that.
So I have.
Okay, any questions? No? Great, thank you. Public safety, Chairman McGregor.
Yes, we met last Wednesday, May 3rd. And not a whole bunch on the agenda, but Chief Warden gave us an update and reported no issues on his end. And Chief Drew gave a report as well, nothing significant to report except the new squad car has arrived and is being outfitted. And of course, as anticipated, that it causes a slight increase in the budget line item due to that, and it will be addressed. I think the explanation was when we normally go from one sort of brand of vehicle to another, a lot more things can transfer, but since we had to get a different model of vehicle, not as many things would transfer, so it was even, I think, a little bit more expensive for the outfitting, because we had to get more things that fit with the vehicle was part of it. But that was to be anticipated. The discussion that took we had a hearty discussion on the EMS coverage. Since the EMS consumes over 50% of the fire department and is generally determined to be what caused it to be over budget last year and anticipated for this year. And the conversation was had simply because at the end of this year, our contract with the Rapids ambulance will increase by 40%. And so what do we need to do with those services? And so we went over the options that we had, talked about call time and different things with compensation. Nothing was, of course, finalized, and we'll continue that conversation next month. And then our next meeting is June 7th at 4 PM.
Any
I have-
questions?
I have one question. I guess as far as, did we get a trade-in value on the old squad car, or are we going to get a trade-in?
I think we're keeping it for
Yeah,
now.
right now we're keeping it, the most money we got offered on it was $5,000. That ain't worth at all to try to trade in.
Okay, well, is that something that we're gonna discuss in the future?
We are, yeah, so we're waiting on the final cost of the outfitting of the new one. We have an offer, Chief's looking for another offer, another wholesale site. So we'll bring all that data probably to public safety, just to have you guys, have them discuss it.
Okay.
With a recommendation. We didn't pull a trigger on that because the $5,000 wasn't worth the effort.
Okay, and I just would hate to have maintenance costs and insurance costs and other things
Sure.
that may break down with that squad.
Agreed.
Start costing us a nickel and diming.
Are you looking for a new vehicle?
No.
The black one.
Thank you.
That's all I had.
Thank you. Planning Property Information Technology Committee, Chairman Grundon.
All right, we met May 2nd. We have a couple motions. I'll make the motion to approve the use of NEPCO Lake Planning Funds of no more than 22,000 to receive and repair the donated weed machines for the developer. These funds will be returned by the NEPCO Lake District once their funding is established in 6 months, pending the signed promissory note.
Motion made by Grundon. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Moore. Any discussion?
So in your packet is the promissory note that will get signed. We went with the $22,000 cap because there may be some $500 in expendables that may be added, so I don't want to put it to a hard 21,000, whatever. This was, the discussion here is the developer is donating over $100,000 of lake cleaning equipment to the village. You would prefer to donate it straight to the Lake District, but the Lake District is just not, while it's organized, it's not fully functional, has no money. So we're kind of in a help mode right now. He is very willing to donate it to us. All he's looking for is a tax valuation, and then we will take them over. This money would get both of those machines that you see on the side of NEPCO Lake functional, because otherwise they're just big paperweights right now. So the $21,000 would get them both functional in the June timeframe. Aquarius is the one that sold the equipment to the developer and also does 50% of the lakes in Wisconsin. So they'll be operational, and then we have a piece of equipment that we as a village will be able to transition over to the Lake District once they get their funding. So we're basically giving an interim promissory note loan to the Lake District for that amount. If it's approved tonight, I will take this to the board meeting next Monday at the district chairman's in the room here. He will get that, and then we'll get a signature from that body. And then we will, in the next 3 to 6 months, I think the promissory note window, based on how their funding comes, we will get that reimbursed. This is the pot of money that we invested at the boundary agreement in NEPCO Lake that was meant to be for NEPCO Lake issues, be it road repairs, be it boundary agreement stuff, whatever. So while we're gonna dip into it, we're actually gonna be replenishing it, so it's kind of a win-win. Any questions?
That would be the point, that I think there's already confusion about it. This is not from any other fund, but the fund that the money is there for these kinds of circumstances.
I do have a couple questions one, they'll become property of the village. Do we have to insure them? And if we have to insure them, I'm sure there's a cost. And the other is, to run the machines, of course, we're gonna need there's gonna have to be somebody that's employed to run them.
So for right now, this is just receiving them as a donation, getting them operational and parking them. We as a village are not weed operations.
Okay,
That is them. So that, and I say them as in the Lake District. So the Lake District is putting together their plan of how they're going to do weeding operations this summer with this equipment. So this was really, we have to get on the repairman schedule. We have to do the deposit. We have to get things rolling. So this was just to get these things in our control and to fix them. And then they stopped. So to your point, I will call the insurance. They're not gonna be utilized. They're just gonna be sitting on the side. Yeah, we may have to insure them for a month until we can transition them there. But I think in the near term, within the next 30 days, the district is gonna figure out their funding source, be it a loan or a charge, that this money should be replenished relatively quick, and then they're gonna have to take them and insure them and all that stuff, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So then later this summer, they'll accept it. They'll have to have a formal acceptance of the equipment.
Yes, it really is just tied to when they actually get money in their coffers, so
Okay.
that's what we're waiting on.
And we also did not get that promise, sorry,
Nope, sorry.
in our packet. At least in my packet.
Yeah, you have them in
Thank
there?
you.
You can, look at that one.
It exists.
It exists.
Okay.
No, not right now.
Any other questions about the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays?
I'm abstaining as a member of the Nepal Lake District Board and the Wood County representative.
All right, then next we have, I'll make the motion to approve the Village TIF Economic Incentive Program for 2023 and 24.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
I think did you do the motion for the finance and human
Oh, I'll
resources?
go back
Did
to
you do
that.
my, did you do my
Oh, yeah,
motion?
you did.
No, I'll go back to that.
That's fine if you want. I'm good with you doing my motion.
I'm sorry.
No.
I've written too much on here.
You're just canceling 8, we tabled that.
Yeah, we did that also. That's why I got confused.
Okay,
We did have a motion you'll see on your agenda for the changes to chapter 8. So we went over that. And the thing that we're working on that, if you look in the draft, it has a lot of if deemed appropriate. So given the challenges that we faced with the community and the kind of how we rolled it out as we're gonna eliminate the special assessment and kind of replace it with the wheel tax. We want to make sure to be real clear in there, rather than saying if deemed appropriate, we want to have that articulate carefully what the circumstances would be. If you want to add more to that, Boz.
No, you hit it, yeah, it'll come back probably next month. Yeah.
All right, so that's that. So no motion on that tonight. And then that one was mine. Yeah, I think that's it for me. Something that I think we might need to get on our agenda for the next pit meeting is I couldn't find any place, do we have a policy in place for when we receive donations, like when we receive that weed machine? That we check through, like, do we need insurance on this? And
Yeah, I mean, it's going through the lawyer, we'll,
I wonder if we
Wow.
establish, what do you call it, standard operating?
well, we have really for monetary donations. That's all we've done.
Yeah, so if we
Okay.
could get that on our agenda, because especially like if the athletic association, anything they may want to donate, get for the fire department. Mr. Bartlett brought up a really good point, that it used to be that they would bring it to the board and the board would approve it. So that would need to be part of that. And then that will just help really clarify it and simplify and really be a problem solving all the way around. Like
no,
they've got their stuff and it's just well established.
no.
And then we would just be freely available to not worry.
Anything else on the pit agenda or minutes? No, are you good?
Yeah, so done.
Okay, now FHR trustee reaction.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
No, we got David.
Finance and Human Resource Committee met on May 4th. And we had some discussion on the economic TIF incentive program for 2023-24. I would like to make a motion. Basically, it's using TIF money to categorize, you'll see it in your pamphlet, different projects that are available for people to access the money and utilize it to develop our downtown and our village. So with that, I would like to make a motion to approve the village TIF economic incentive program for 2023-24. Thank
Motion
you.
by Rick, second by Brendan. Any discussion?
I just have a quick question, and I know we kind of talked about this before, but I think I just need some clarification. So, I mean, obviously, we're talking about job creation, 30 grand, et cetera, right? So if this doesn't get used, I know we've got time and we could then reallocate. Do we have a plan B? I mean, obviously, I think the hope is that, you know, businesses jump on board and use this stuff, but sometimes money doesn't get used, right? So do we have a plan B that'd be ready to go in case?
We do, part of the TIF development plan is projects inside the fences of the DMI parcel. To date, we have never been provided with a viable plan by the developer.
Right.
So with this money going out now and us continuing to work with DMI, it's really gonna give them a spark to say, the pot's drying up, you guys need to come to the table quicker. Tell us what road, tell us what building. So as we get 6 months into this, we would be able to move, if there's not utilized funds, we'd be able to move that into another TIF project inside there relatively quick. Yeah, the money's sitting there, so.
I think we also talked about having Buzz give us a monthly update. That way we can continuously know the progress and allocate along the way too.
And then June 2024, that money. Poof, it's gone.
Well, it doesn't. June 2024 is when we start the accounting of the decision by this board. Do we want to continue the TIF for 5 more years or kill it? So we have a year to come to a consensus here. Because if you end the TIF, it needs to be ended by September 30th next year. And then they back off about 60 to 90 days for the accountants to do their thing, to close it out. That's where the June date comes from.
And then what happens
So
then?
if we
Like, if we
close
killed
it,
it,
yeah, if we
hypothetically.
close it, part of the closure is we have to spend it down to 0 before we close it, before September.
Okay,
So right now it's 1.25 million. We would have to spend all of that in other programs like this with
because it's
this.
specific, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that we have to spend it down. If you all decide to keep it live for 5 more years, at the same time, understand we can't spend anything. After, in the 5-year window, you're not allowed to do any projects.
Yeah, you update this one.
So there's some decisions that will have to be made here. If you keep it alive, the only viable option is for us to basically take a loan against the valuation of the TIF. So, I mean, it's a lot of, it needs a separate little huddle between y'all because I need guidance from y'all of keep it alive or kill it. Because there's a lot of work that goes into either way.
Well, and why for the 5 years, then can you not touch it?
That's part of the state program. The state looks at that last 5 years, you should have done everything you need to do.
Yeah,
And you're cleaning house the last 5 years. All your projects are done. We are way behind 8 ball on that. So we are just having projects now.
okay.
Yeah. So
Anybody have anything else? Mr. Zirkle?
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Chairman, reading your little capsule here on the first page of FHR minutes from May 4th. Discussion on the program, some clarification on board and committee notifications and who is the keeper of the program. Not any major concerns there. The only question I have is what does keeper mean? But I think I'm gonna get my answer when I ask you next. I underline the whole line. Determinations are made that the administrator will manage and approve the projects. So that means that he just can have carte blanche and it doesn't come back from to the board for approval of those projects?
Well, he's gonna keep us updated monthly on these projects. And it was a discussion in our meeting. And one of it is, if you look at the money that's being spent, one's $1,000 for the artwork here on the building. All of them are basically under $20,000. He's gonna keep us updated. I didn't want it to go and end up that we go from one committee to the next committee. We hired a village administrator and I want him to keep a plan on it and he's gonna keep us updated every month. But I don't want him to say, okay, do we have to come back to get approved $1,000? Or, hey, let's go ahead and let's use the tip money. Because we are behind the 8 ball and using the tip money.
Well, that's what the FHR's committee responsibilities are to do.
Correct, and that's why we gonna keep us updated monthly.
Approving them. Thank you, Madam President and Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, trustee.
Anything else on that? We have to vote on that too. Okay. So if hearing nothing else, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Okay. Planning commission, okay. Mr. Rick, do you have anything else for FHR?
No, that's all I have. Our next meeting will be on June 8th at 4:30 here at the Marshall Bueller Center.
Thank you. Planning commission, did that meet?
No meet.
Neptune Lake Transition Planning Subcommittee.
That didn't meet in April. Nothing new. We're scheduling a time to have a discussion. I'm waiting on some legal opinions from our Stevens Point lawyer before I have that meeting, so.
Okay, any unfinished business from previous meeting? Any new business?
Any stats on the Mission Coffee?
Received their interior plans, for what they're doing. And we needed those because we were still finishing up our responsibilities with the bathrooms and the heating and air. So now we're able to synchronize that what we're doing is not gonna conflict with what they're doing. They are still, receiving the plans. I mean, they're gonna keep it kind of industrial on the inside, so it's not a lot of work they need to do. The biggest thing is, if you know the space on the inside is it's one big room. Instead of the back being their kitchen, where we all thought it was gonna be, their designer moved the kitchen to the front, so it's a major change. Their cost, but that may drag it out an extra 30 days of work. The soonest Jen says she'll be operational, probably late summer. She says that, but she wants to be tied into some of our events here, or music fests, where they can offer some services, food and drinks to get their name out. So I think you're gonna start seeing some Mission Coffee stuff happening, even in the space as it gets built out. Once we get bathrooms in there, obviously, that's what they're waiting on. But it's still gonna be a late summer, early fall, probably openings.
Thank you.
Yep, anything else? For new business? Okay, report from the village administrator.
Your packet in the book, we mentioned about starting our part-timers up. It'll go full bore next month with them all on board. We've all done they're all passed their drug tests and everything, so we're good on that. Continue and execute the payroll and our village budget, no issues there. We did some work at our dog park. We put some seating down, if you noticed out there. We're gonna close it one day next week to do some maintenance as well as some lawn care there. But other than that, it's functional and it's on their own. They owe us a date for an official ribbon cutting. So I guess I'll get with the president and figure out when they want to do the whole publicized ribbon cutting. So we'll wait on that. 3 projects are commencing. It's gonna be real busy in June, July. This area will all be tore up. We are working how to get to the businesses with either walkways or planks to get in there. So Ben's working with all the businesses to figure out how we're not going to totally impede them, but had a business meeting with them last week. They were all very excited about it, excited about the TIF program. And I think, that they're energizing themselves when it comes to, potential for sale of our buildings next door and stuff like that. They're all talking amongst themselves, so that's a good thing. No burning issues in police and fire. You see the call reports down there. That's just a summary from public safety. We'll go to budget. We're in line with budget execution as of, the date, as well as the revenue we received. We're really the next big tranche of revenue comes with the summer taxes that come in, but we basically received the bulk of our revenue so far. We've presented all the data that we have as a staff to FHR for the wage study. So I guess it's in the court of FHR to figure out how much more they want us to talk about it or discuss. So that's kind of in a standing by. If you haven't seen or heard the shared revenue, we got an update from the league on our strategic meeting. Just today that we had a conference call with the state. So right now, and I know you're hearing in the news, governor wants to veto, they're gonna play their games, whatever, but right now, the way the model has been set up, they've provided across all the state how much money all the municipal governments will get based on this model that is basically approved by the legislature, moving to the governor, and we will get a $56,000 increase next year of our shared revenue. So what they've tied that to is our basic revenue, and they've added 56K to it, and then every year after that, it's a simpler calculation. Whatever the state sales tax rate goes up, and that's an easily find out number. You can go on the website. We'll get that much additional shared revenue every year. Right now, the average state increase is between 5 to 8%. So not a lot of money, but it's at least an increase where for 30 years we've been decreasing. So that's a good thing. That number may change. The 56K may creep up some because the biggest pushback right now is, 56K is not crazy amount. But we have some of our bigger cities are complaining they're not getting enough. And they may force the model to be relooked at to get more. So that may creep up a little bit higher. But more to follow once they approve that. And once they approve that, it goes into effect this year. So we will see that executed pretty quickly. There are additional models, funding models that are not tied to the 56K. The what they call public safety specific as well as municipal collaboration. So if we present what we're doing to collaborate with a surrounding sister city around us, there's money where we both could get reimbursed to do that, be it fire, public safety, public works, whatever. Not a lot of details on that program, but it's an interesting one for finding efficiencies. The first one is public safety. It's really just they throw a lot of money in a bucket. They're trying to figure out what does that mean. The more interesting, I think I mentioned it to one of the committees, the more interesting statement in the budget is if the budget gets approved as written, no municipal government can lower its public safety budget. It's a forcing function by the state that if we spend $100,000 on public safety, next year's budget, we as a board cannot go below $100,000. So it's interesting that they're going to kind of force that on governments, but we'll see how that goes. It's a good thing. It forces us to keep at least the status quo, but I guess it could be very challenging for municipal governments that can't afford what they have and they're having to do some efficiency. So more to follow on that. We talked about the Lake District meeting. That's Monday. We'll get some information on that, get the promissory note signed. We continue to work our parcels. We sold the farther one. We closed on that in April. We received our funds for that. We're continuing to work the next two. You see a big dumpster out back. We're gonna get some work. We have the realtor showing that. We showed it 4 times now. Right now, our start number is in the 90K range for what we are asking for it. And that's just based on the size and all the space that's in there. So more to follow on that if it gets there. We're still waiting on some grants. Just be aware, this will come through the next FHR. The PSC has also authorized us for an 8% water bill increase for the village for starting the end of this year. starts.
September,
September.
the last quarter.
Yeah, so it's gonna be, we're gonna have to talk about it before budget time because they want it to take effect September. So we have not, put in there, since 2018, we have not raised water bill rates because they're controlled by the state. We've been static, and that's in your budget packets, your blue books and everything. We've been flat while we make a slight profit. That profit goes very quickly to repairing water lines. So it's not like we have a massive amount of money sitting there. The state does their calculations, and based on the size of our water district and so on, they've authorized us to go up to 8%, and we can't do less. We have to either do 8 or zip. And that's just the way the PSC operates. So we're gonna have to bring to FHR a discussion next month. Do you want to do it? If we don't do it, we wait again, and the PSC tells us next year, yes or no. It's one of those things you roll the dice. I think because we haven't raised them in, 5 years, it makes sense. An 8% increase, you see right there the example, when the average person's quarterly water bill is about $6 to $7 extra a quarter. So it's enough. It's a happy meal, but it ain't gonna bust anybody, I don't think. So we'll bring some more information to FHR on that, just to keep our water rates in line. You see your calculation on permits, no new houses, but a decent amount of permits, especially spring stuff, a lot of projects. And then under your holiday schedule, you have Music Fest this month on the 18th, on the 20th is the rummage sale. Rock Fry at the fire department, and on the 29th at our cemetery at 10 o'clock is the VFW doing their memorial and speaker there. So that's the 3 major ones this month. The only additional we have another one of these extraterritorial for our new board members. I don't think we've done one in a while. In the village, if you look at our village map over there, if it's outside the village limits by a half mile, any rezoning or division of land, we have a vote in it, either approve or deny. That's just something the state gives us the power to. We've signed up for it, so we do it. So this parcel, obviously, if you see the map attached, this is out in Saratoga or Grand Rapids. Yeah, so it's out west, way past Nepco Lake, out in Grand Rapids, it's within a half mile. They basically give me a memo that says, do you agree with this subdivision of land? Would it meet your requirements? This one does. Even if this was in our village, we would approve it as a CSM. So I just need a board action that you guys are fine with me just telling Saratoga, their Grand Rapids, they're good with it. So I would ask for a motion.
So
When is the I'm sorry, Madam President, thank you. When is the CSM gonna be approved by the board?
Well, we have 30 days for us to approve it, and then it goes to county.
For us to approve it?
Yeah, county will do their approval. Yeah.
Yeah, because the
Yep.
board always, even though we've never turned one down, the board has got to vote on those. You can't just say,
Our board.
yes.
Yes, that's what I'm asking for.
Good.
okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the extraterritorial CSM for the Grand Rapids Eagles parcel. What was it? Oh, Hilders. Okay, sorry. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Brendan. Any discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed?
There's
And-
no motion written on there.
Some of your questions is all I got.
Anybody have anything for Boss?
I did have a question.
Mhm.
There's a resident on Carberg that had a parcel change and he thought it was gonna come to this meeting, but
Oh, yes, out here. Yeah, we haven't received anything from the surveyor
Okay.
yet, so I'm tracking that, so. Yeah.
Okay. Report from the clerk treasurer.
Okay, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve an operator's license for Janessa Wilson at Amico, valid through June 30th, 2024.
So move.
Motion by Zerflu, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ray. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That one carries.
Okay, and I'd also like to ask for a motion to approve a temporary Class B beer license for the Rivers Firefighters Athletic Association, Inc. for one event, June 16, 2023 at 4 p.m. through June 17, 2023 at 2 a.m. I move.
Motion by Brendan. For a second?
Second.
Second by Randy. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
And I'd also like to ask for a motion to approve an operator's license for Donald Katowski for the Rivers Firefighters Athletic Association, valid through June 30th, 2024.
so
Motion by Sir Flu.
I'll second it.
Second by Randy. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That one carries as well. Okay, do you have anything else, Diane?
No.
Trustee comments. I'm going to make I forgot about, saying this during the president's report, but there is a day of legislation on May 23rd that the league is advocating for, so if you guys are available, May 23rd, I think it's a Tuesday, to go down to Madison and advocate. Remind everybody on that. I think it's in the league, in the municipality magazine.
I should have got an email today.
I'll say that, you didn't check. Anybody else?
I do have one comment under trustee comments, just even though it'll be published with the agenda, Parks and Rec is going to meet this month at Ripple Creek Park. And then, in July, we'll meet down at Edwards Alexander. Both, weather permitting type thing. And then in June, I will not be here for that meeting, so Madam President, if you could, get a trustee to fill in. And Jen, either you or Eric could share that, please. June meeting. I will be fishing.
Are you bringing picnic style lunches to those meetings?
What's that?
Are you bringing picnic style lunches to the park meetings?
No, I won't have been in Saint Germain fishing for a couple weeks yet, otherwise we'd have fish fry.
Oh, okay. Thinking about going.
Just like we're working together.
Anything else? Everybody? Under trustee comment? No, okay. Committee meeting calendars, obviously, Parks and Rec is gonna be at Ripple Creek. Is the plan, if it's, bad weather, to come just back here, or are you gonna reschedule it so that you can
Well,
go?
hopefully, we could just stay on the premise, but, sit under the pavilion.
Okay.
You know, but if it's cold and windy and stormy, then we just come back
Go
here.
back here, okay. Any questions on the committee meeting calendar for the next 30 days?
Airport Commission, June 1st, 8 a.m. Thursday, if you care to attend.
Airport, June 1st. Yeah, 8.
That, pit meeting, June 6th, I know that 5 p.m. is because of me, so does anyone wanna go back to
back?
the original time? It's up to you guys, it doesn't matter to me, but
How would that be for you?
I don't care.
4 o'clock?
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Hearing nothing else, I will adjourn the meeting without objection. I will adjourn the meeting at 7:40.
Excellent.